say your last name for the record.
My name is Taydra Jones, Jones.
And your first name, I'm sorry.
Taydra, Taydra.
And Ms. Jones, where do you work?
I work at Tracy Locke.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a project manager at an advertising agency.
And back on September the 6th of 2018, did you reside at the South Side Flats on Lamar?
Yes.
Okay. How long had you been living there?
Since the end of April.
April of 2018?
Yes.
And what was your apartment number?
1482.
And I want to take your attention to the evening hours of that night. Actually, may I approach the witness?
Yes.
Ms. Jones, I'm showing you an exhibit that's been admitted as 34B as in Bravo. Do you see your apartment location on this?
Yes.
And could you show the ladies and gentlemen of the jury where your apartment is located?
Right here.
Okay. So I'm going to take your name and stick it here. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Ms. Jones, do you recall what time you arrived home that evening?
I do not recall the specific time I arrived home.
Do you know what your plans were for the night?
To watch TV and go to sleep.
Okay. At some point, did you hear what I guess you recognized as gunshots?
Yes.
Okay. What were you doing when those shots started?
I was sitting on a couch watching television.
Were you in your living room or your bedroom?
My living room.
Before the shots, did you hear any noise or any commotion?
No.
So tell us about what actually happened. You were watching TV and then what?
I was on the couch watching TV. I was also on the phone with my cousin. And, I wasn't on the phone yet. I heard the gunshots, or what I thought was gunshots. I wasn't sure at the moment. So then I called my cousin. And then I heard the police sirens, and I saw them from like the balcony, because it faces the street a little bit. And so that's when I verified that it was gunshots. And yeah.
How many gunshots do you recall hearing?
2.
And were they slow or fast in succession? Like did the gunshots happen fast, one behind the other, or was it?
One behind the other.
Okay. Was it like pow, long pause pow, or pow pow?
It was like pow, pow.
Okay. And you said that you heard the sirens. Was it immediately or?
Like a couple minutes after.
You said you called your cousin. Why did you call your cousin?
She's like a sister to me. I don't know. I heard gunshots and called her and was like, I'm here. I heard gunshots, so.
Had you ever heard gunshots before?
At my apartment?
Just
in general, yes.
Okay, so you recognized what they were when they occurred?
Yes.
And you said you didn't hear anything prior to?
No.
Did you know your neighbors on the walkway of that 4th floor?
I've seen people. I didn't know people personally or know their names, but you see people regularly when you go to and from your apartment.
So you heard the sirens and you kind of looked out your balcony. When you looked out your balcony, did you see, I guess, police trying to get inside?
I saw police cars driving down the street, and stopping at the apartment.
And at some point, did you ever see a female on the walkway of the fourth floor?
Yes,
Okay, and what was that female dressed like?
the police officer.
Can you describe to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what she was doing?
She was walking kind of panicked down the hallway, looked a little red. She was on the phone, I believe, and that was it, yeah.
Did you hear anything that she was saying while she was on the phone?
No. I mean, I heard her talking, but I don't know what she was saying.
Had you ever seen her before?
No, not to my knowledge.
And at some point, did you see paramedics arrive?
Yes.
Let me ask you this question. When you saw the officer on the run on the phone, were you looking out your peephole or were you looking out your balcony?
I was looking at my peephole of my door.
Did you ever open your door?
I opened my door slightly. She was with another officer who was kind of like, it's okay. Because I was just, when I saw the police, I hoped that it would be safe and wanted to know what was happening. And he just said it was okay, and I just closed my door again.
Did you later see paramedics arrive?
Yes.
And you're doing all this observing through your peephole?
Yes.
Are you still on the phone with your cousin?
She didn't answer. She answered the first time, and then she hung up, and then she didn't answer again.
And when the paramedics arrived, what did you observe?
I just saw them go down the hallway.
And they were moving
Towards-
pretty quickly?
Yes, towards the door.
When we say towards the door, apartment 1478?
I don't know his apartment number.
Okay. Had you ever seen Botham before in the apartment complex?
Yes.
Had you ever had any interactions with him?
Just like the neighbor smiled and nod.
From your time there, are the hallways at the Southside Flats, does noise echo pretty loud in that hallway?
Yes.
Okay. Have you had an opportunity to maybe hear like some of your neighbors on the inside of their apartments when you're walking down the hallways?
If they're loud enough.
Okay. And so you're saying that before you heard the gunshots, you hadn't heard any sounds being made?
No.
Okay. No loud commands being given?
No.
Precedence.
Hello, Ms. Jones. I'm John Snyder. Do you remember speaking to some investigating officers on the night of September 6th
Yes.
last year? And so you were asked about what you heard, and before you heard what you didn't immediately recognize as gunfire, you were watching television, correctly?
Yes.
Correct? And you had this volume turned up rather loud, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And were you, at that moment, before the gunfire that you heard, were you focusing on listening to outside the apartment?
No, I was watching television.
And you kind of described, you remember describing to the investigating officers, you were kind of in your own little, I guess in your own little world at that time, watching television. You had it turned up pretty loud, correct?
Yes.
And when they asked you if you'd seen anyone through the peephole, did you report to them that you'd seen a civilian outside?
I don't remember.
That's the witness. Thank you.
Is there redirect?
No, no.
May she be excused?
She can't come and say that.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Ms. Jones. You're excused.
Thank you.
I think we'll take our lunch break at this time. session will resume at 1 o'clock.
All rise.
Days 29, 30, and 31 with defense exhibits number 65, 66, and 67. Do you have any objections to that, Mr. Hurts?
No, ma'am, I don't.
And is that correct, Mr. Rock?
That is correct.
Okay. So your next exhibit will be 68, should you have a need for it.
Thank you.
Make sure they're lined up.
Judge, I got it.
Okay. We're good. If somehow you have been able to get in here with the cell phone, I don't want to hear it. Now, I have taken laptops and cell phones, and I said that I was keeping them until the conclusion of the trial. And people have whined and wailed and gnashed their teeth, and I have succumbed. But if I take another one, 3 days into this, and this is not a new rule for the 204, but if I do confiscate your laptop, cell phone, or whatever device, unless you are one of the attorneys and you need your work product, I will have it for the duration. And I don't care who's in ICU. I don't care what work you have. You need to take it outside if you cannot turn it off. And I really do mean that. We're not here talking about a shoplifting. This is very difficult for both families. And we don't need these interruptions.
All right.
You all may be seated. And Mr. Hermans, please call your next witness.
The state called Whitney Hughes.
I'm sorry, Ms. Long. Thank you. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. You appear to be very soft-spoken, so please adjust the mic, and it's okay to shout your answers.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Please state your name and spell your first and last name for the court reporter.
Whitney Hughes, WHITNEY HUGHES.
Okay. Ms. Hughes, we're going to follow the judge's instructions. Pull that microphone
Oh, yeah.
a little closer to you.
Okay. Is that okay?
That is
Okay.
Thank you.
Mhm.
We want the ladies and gentlemen of the jury to hear you.
Okay.
Ms. Hughes, how old of a female are you?
I'm 26.
And what kind of work do you do?
I'm an HR admin. I'm in Plano.
And I want to direct your attention to September the 6th, 2018, where you living at the Southside Flats.
Yes.
How long had you lived there?
I moved there at the end of June. So June. A little less than 3 months.
So that was June of 2018?
Yes.
And what was your apartment number?
1439.
May I first witness, Your Honor?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes, I'm going to ask you to step down for a second.
Okay.
And I'm going to show you what's been admitted as State Exhibit 34B as in Bravo. It is a layout of the fourth floor of Southside Flats along the hallway where this incident occurred. Do you see your apartment on this? Yes. Would you please place this sticky with your name next to your apartment? Thank you. Now, Ms. Hughes, on the night of this incident, do you recall what you were doing?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell the ladies and gentlemen about that?
I was watching TV. I'd taken a shower earlier, so I was just painting my nails and watching TV.
Were you in the living room or the bedroom?
The bedroom.
And what was the first thing that sounded unusual to you?
I just heard the two loud bangs, and that was the first thing I heard.
And the two loud bangs, were they quick in succession, or were there a bang, a long pause, and then bang?
It was really quick.
Did you recognize those bangs to be gunshots?
It took me a second to get there, but yeah.
Okay. And what other clues or events occurred to help you get to that those were potentially gunshots?
The hallway's really echoey, so at first I thought maybe someone was rolling something or dropped something, because you can hear a lot of what's going on in the hallway. And so when I heard it, I got up and paused the TV to hear anything else was going on. And yeah.
Okay. And so you said the hallways are echoey. At your time on that floor, had you ever had an opportunity to hear your neighbors from the inside of their apartments?
If you're in the hallway, you can hear from the inside of the apartments when you're walking by them. Yes.
Okay, so you can hear different individuals, I guess, activities inside of their closed doors.
Yes, ma'am.
So you said you paused the TV and you listened. Did you go to the door?
Yes.
Did you open the door?
No, I just looked through the peephole.
And when you looked out the peephole, what did you see?
I saw her on the phone.
And when you say her, who are you referring to?
Her. Amber.
The defendant, Amber Guyger?
Yes.
And you pointed in that direction. Can you identify article of clothing she's wearing?
A blue sweater.
Let the record reflect the witnesses identified the defendant. And when you saw her on the cell phone, what did you observe?
Well, at first I was concerned if I should call the cops, and then I saw her in her uniform, so assuming that the cops were already there. And she was just standing in front of the door of my neighbor across the way, and she was just on the phone, and she sounded upset.
And so, from your observation through the peephole, it appeared that she was upset.
Yes, ma'am.
And what clues gave you that idea?
It sounded like crying, or just the sounds, I guess.
Did you hear any of her conversation or anything that she was saying when she was on the phone?
Nothing I remember her saying, no.
And you said you didn't call the police because she was in a police uniform?
Yes, ma'am.
At some point, did you hear other officers arrive?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what did you observe then?
I saw them, they all walked through in front of my door. And then I remember another female officer, she was there, and she said something to another police officer, and then she said, "Stay with her, she's involved." And that's what I remember hearing.
Had you ever seen the defendant on your floor before?
No.
Had you ever seen Botham Jean before?
No.
I believe you indicated at some point that you have had some kind of problems with your door before.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Sometimes it was, I guess depending on if it rained or not, usually the door would shut all the way, but the lock, it wouldn't go directly into the socket. It was like kind of uneven. So you kind of had to pull on the handle towards you to get the key fob to go to lock it when you're leaving. And that was pretty much it.
Did you ever have that or encounter that problem on the inside of the door?
Not that I remember, no.
Okay, only on the outside when you're leaving?
Mhm.
It's kind of hard to lock on the way out?
Yes. Yeah, because you're in your inside, I guess you can push when you lock it, and then on the outside you're pulling, so it's more, you have to force it more, I guess.
Now, in all fairness, you say you were watching TV and painting your nails. Did you hear any commands or any loud voices before you heard the gunshots?
No, ma'am.
But you said the hallways or the walls, are they pretty thin on the inside of the apartments as well?
Not that I didn't think so, just because I never heard any noise from my next door neighbors. Really, everything I heard was just coming from the hallway.
So inside of the hallway, it echoes.
Yes.
Okay. So perhaps what if, let's say one of your neighbors' door was open, would that project the voice out into the hallway?
I'm not sure.
Pass it.
Ms. Hughes, I just have a few questions. You moved into the Southside Flats around June of 2018, is that right?
Yes, the end of June.
Okay, the end of June. So
Yes.
at the time of this incident, you've been there about a little over 2 months?
Yes.
And you lived there with your boyfriend?
Yes.
His name's Zach?
Yes.
But he wasn't there at the time?
No.
Okay. And you lived in 1439?
Yes.
Okay. And in the time you'd been there, I believe you stated previously in another hearing that you had parked on the wrong floor on 2 different occasions
Yes.
and walked down the hall. And one of those occasions walked all the way, you were on the 3rd floor by mistake, I believe.
Yes.
And you walked all the way to, it would have been 1339 and put your key.
Yes, I did once. Mhm.
And you walked down the hall a second time, but you realized you were on the wrong floor before you made it all the way to 1330.
Yes.
Okay, I want to talk about that for a few minutes.
Okay.
You parked, did you believe, let's talk about the time you went all the way to the wrong apartment of 1339. Did you believe you were parking on the 14th floor when that happened?
The 4th floor, yes.
Or fourth, I'm sorry, 4th. Are the 3rd and 4th floor, do they look exactly alike?
Close. Yeah.
Is there any markings like a big 4, a big 3? At that time, were there any markings that distinguish the two that you could see on pillars or anywhere like that?
There was, for the reserve spots, it indicated it would start with the number of the floor, and they were like a little red in front of the spot. So usually that's what I would look for, but nothing big or anything like that.
So you missed it on those 2 occasions?
Yes.
All right. And was this when you were coming home from work?
Yes.
What time do you usually get home?
At that time, around 6.
Okay. All right. Judge, I'd like to offer, which we stipulated to earlier, I think it states that 261. $261 for all purposes.
No objection.
It's a dude.
And I'm going to play you, there's two videos on this disc I'm going to play you. One is, so you know what we're seeing. One is going to be, there's no noise. It'll be walking from the fourth floor garage down the hallways, probably up to your apartment, okay?
Okay.
And I'm going to ask it to be paused a couple of times, okay?
Okay.
All right. You see that 4? That's on the inside of the elevator door, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Is it fair to say back at that time it was easy to miss?
Yes.
Since this incident, have larger numbers been placed in the garage?
Yes.
All right. Go for it, please. Door, and that takes you down the first hallway, is that right?
Yes.
Now, some of the residents have doormats, like we see one coming up on the right that's brown and black,
Mm-hmm.
that they place in front, and others don't, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead. Here's if we could stop it there, looks like a doormat on the left that has pineapples on it. It's rather distinctive, is it not?
Yes.
Had you noticed that mat before when you walk into your apartment?
Yes.
Okay. Same thing for the black and brown one. Had you noticed that before?
Yes.
All right. Go ahead. Stop there. There's another one just to the left there that looks to be a solid color, maybe some type of black marking in the middle. Had you noticed that, Matt? Walking to and from your apartment before?
Not in particular.
Okay. Good. Now, as we win the hall takes a left. You turn to the left, and then your apartment's going to be down on the left. Is that right?
Yes.
Is that your apartment right there?
No, I'm one more, I think.
Okay, so that's your neighbor's now. Okay, go ahead. Pillars stick out about a foot or 18 inches or so.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. And the mat we see to the left coming up next, is that your apartment?
Yes.
Okay. What color is that?
It's just that basic brown doormat, like every doormat.
All right. We can just get a little further. Stop right there. All right. So that's your apartment. That's where you'd go to every day.
Yes.
All right. And again, we can see the pillar that sticks out right in that area by the fire.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I want to show you now same type of video just on the 13th floor, okay?
The third floor?
Oh,
Yeah.
third floor. Thank you. And you parked on the third floor mistakenly twice before this incident?
Yes.
We can just publish Now we're looking at the elevator. Essentially, other than if you're able to see the reserved parking or get up close to the elevator, they're built and are the same color. Is that correct?
Yes.
When you are getting out of your car and you go to coming from the garage into you go across this little bridge we're about to see, do you ever glance out and take a view of the skylines, or you just go straight from the garage into that door?
Just through the door.
Okay. That makes sense. Now let me stop it right there. So let's talk about the occasion that you went all the way to the wrong apartment, 1339. When you came up to the door here, there was nothing, there's no 3 near the doorway on the wall there that would have given you or alerted you that you were on the wrong floor. Is that right?
There wasn't a number, yes.
Okay. Looks just like it is now in the video.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's go ahead. Oh, did we jump there? We could go back as we're opening that door, please. And stop it once the door is open. Once the door is open, please. Let me get inside. Okay, right there. You see that doormat there to the left?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of got, I guess you'd call it like river rocks, looks like. Covered. Distinctive doormat. Would you agree?
Yes.
When you went in on that occasion that you went all the way to the wrong apartment, you didn't notice that as you walked down the hallway, did you?
Not that I remember.
Okay. Go ahead. And the coloring of the walls and how the walls are built, where the fans are, they're the exact same as they are on the 4th floor. Is that right?
Yes.
And as you walked on the 3rd floor on that occasion, you didn't notice that the pineapple mat was missing, or the brown and black mat was missing on this hallway, did you?
You could feel, I didn't notice, it just felt something was weird, but I kept going.
All right. And you said this was after your off work, which will be after 6 p.m.
Yes.
I take it you put down a full day.
Yes.
Now we'll take a left here. There's another mat at that door. Pause it, please. Okay, you see that big plant that's sitting outside next to a mat by that door?
Yes.
All right, now on that day you would have walked past that and taken no notice of it, would you?
I did notice it. That I did when I walked past it, yes.
Okay. But you kept walking to the door. Did you think maybe someone put a plant out or something like that?
Yeah, like they just added something
Added
else.
something to their door? Okay. Go ahead. Have we gone past what would be 1339? We could back that up. I might need a little help from you. You can tell me what would be 1339.
This next one on the left. I think there's a...
It's got a wastebasket
Yes.
outside. You'd stop it there. Do you see any mat there by the door, or does it just have the wastebasket outside?
Just the wastebasket from what I can see.
Okay. And I'm not trying to make fun of you or anything. I just want to demonstrate how this can happen. And on that occasion, you went. Did you actually put your key fob in the door?
I did. I remember them having a mat, though. That could have been on a different time.
Because I know you there was one other occasion that you got on the third floor by mistake.
Yes.
And once you put the key in, is that when you figured out you were actually on the wrong floor?
Yes.
And another thing, the numbers on these apartments, they're different from other apartments you lived in.
Yes.
Usually the apartments you lived in the past are the numbers right there on the door.
Or next to it, just lower and in little, not actual things on the wall, not a light.
Okay. Kind of eye level.
Yes.
And these are what, up a little higher and they're illuminated?
Yes.
Did that make them a little harder to see?
Yes.
And once you developed that habit, did you actually look for the number, or you just kind of could always sense right where your apartment was?
I didn't look prior, no.
Okay. All right. Thank you. A couple of questions now. You mentioned your door, your apartment door, that when it rains or it's humid, that it has trouble. You have trouble pulling it closed from your outside.
It closes all the way. It's just when you try to lock it, the bolt isn't lined up all the way with the notch in the wall.
Okay.
So it would like lock halfway, and then you'd kind of have to pull it all the way.
Then it'll go all the way.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So maybe it expands or something due to the humidity or something like that.
Yes.
But you notice it always happens when it's rained.
Something like that.
Okay.
Yes.
You remember on this day, September 6th, 2018, that it rained a lot during the day?
Not that I remember, no.
Okay. And again, Zach was not there. You were getting ready for bed, I guess, and just relaxing. Is that right?
Yes.
And the TV was in your bedroom?
Yes.
And you had that on?
Yes.
Doing your nails, just in the day?
Yes.
And when you first heard the two gunshots, you weren't exactly sure what they were?
Yeah, it took me a second to get there, but yes.
Okay. I mean, I think you described it might have been something, dropping something like pans or something. You weren't sure what, and then you put it together.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Now, as far as noises, if someone's in the hallway, you can hear that.
Yes.
If you're in your apartment, the door's closed, right?
Yes.
But if you had a neighbor in their apartment, and you're in your apartment, you weren't hearing what was going on in their apartment.
I could hear the people below me. I don't know if that's just because they were loud. But yeah, next to me, I didn't hear anybody.
Okay. All right. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Just a few questions, Joe.
Go ahead.
Ms. Hughes, this humidity and issue with your door, you're talking about the deadbolt actually engaging, is that correct? Like you have to pull the door, kind of pull it a little tighter to engage the deadbolt lock?
For it to go all the way in, yes. It would still lock, because sometimes I didn't feel like dealing with it in the morning, so I would just half lock it, I guess, but it seemed to close, or to stay locked, so. But yeah, to get it all the way, for the key to go, totally flat, you'd kind of have to mess with it.
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm clear that it's not that the door would not close in humidity. That's not what you're saying, correct?
No, correct, yeah. It would completely close. It was just locking.
That's what I wanted to make sure. And then the time you did go to the wrong floor or wrong apartment, you said it felt different.
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
It was almost like deja vu or something, that same sort of feeling, like I thought I knew, like, it seemed right, but it felt weird, so but not enough to even turn around. The one time, I stopped at the corner, and then the other time I actually went all the way, but it just, you could feel it, something was weird.
Okay, so let's take those two different times and talk about it. The time you actually went all the way to the wrong apartment door and engaged the key, what happened?
It, the lock flashed red.
And was that an indicator you were in the wrong place?
Yes.
And then the second time when you went to the corner, what occurred when you hit the corner to let you know you were in the wrong place?
I think it might have been that plant, or it must have been that because it was that second time I actually realized that I was on the wrong floor.
And you're talking about the plant we just saw in the video on the
Yes, on the right after you turn the corner.
The big iron type sitting outside.
Yes.
Okay, so the first time you went to the wrong door, you put the key in and the light blinked red.
Yes.
And then when you did it the second time, you noticed the landmarking being the big vase or plant on the outside.
Yes.
That's it.
Nothing further, Judge.
Miss Hughes?
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Ms.
Thank you.
They called Alyssa Kinsey.
Testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you.
Please state your name and spell your first and last name for the court reporter.
Alyssa Kinsey, first name Alyssa, last name Kinsey.
And Ms. Kinsey, where do you work?
I work in the aviation industry.
What do you do?
I work for airline and pilot training, doing operations.
Are you have the benefit or like buddy passes and stuff?
I'm working on that.
Okay. I want to take your attention back to September the 6th of 2018, okay? At that time, were you living at Southside Flats?
Mm-hmm.
You have to say yes or no for the court reporter.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. How long had you been living at that apartment complex?
I moved in about 4 months prior.
And when you moved in, did you meet Botham John that day?
Yes, the night I moved in.
Tell us about the day you met Mr. Jones.
So we had spent all day moving, and I went out on the patio to kind of relax. Our patios are about maybe 8 inches apart. I was sitting out there having a glass of wine, trying to relax, and he came out, and I think I scared him, and we just started kind of chatting about where we worked and living in Dallas, and living at Southside Flats, and where to go eat, and all that kind of stuff. So just a really friendly chat.
And Ms. Kinsey, are you not originally from Dallas?
I'm from Fort Worth.
And at the time, what was your apartment number?
1480.
May I close the window, Sean?
Yes.
Hey, the witness step down.
Yes.
Step down.
Sure.
Ms. Kinsey, I'm showing you what's been marked and admitted as 34B, safety exhibit. It is a corridor, large print of the area in which Mr. Jones' apartment is located. Do you see your apartment located on this board?
Yes.
Right here. Okay. And do you know if 1476 was occupied on the night of this incident?
I don't know.
Okay, thank you. So, Ms. Kinsey, you said that your balcony is probably, would you say, 8 inches from Mr. Jones' balcony?
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's right.
Did you ever have the opportunity to hear him or from inside of your apartment while he was inside of his?
Only one time he had his back door open, and I think the basketball playoffs were going on, and so I could kind of hear him kind of whooping and hollering. But my back door was open as well, so I think that was probably part of it. But outside of that, I couldn't ever hear through the wall.
Now, I want to focus your attention to the night of this incident. What were you doing in the evening hours on September 6th, 2018?
Right when it happened, I was sitting on the couch on Facetime with my boyfriend, chatting.
And you were on the couch in the living room?
Yes, ma'am.
Is your apartment the same layout as Mr. Jones' apartment, the 8-3?
I think it's the same size and layout. I'm not sure if they're mirrored images or not, but same size.
Okay. And so you're FaceTiming with your boyfriend, and what did you hear?
Yeah, so we're chatting, and all of a sudden I heard a very loud, sort of metallic sound. It sounded like 2 parts to one noise, if that makes sense. My boyfriend could hear it through the phone as well. We both stopped for a second, and about 5 seconds later, it sounded like a commotion, like a man's voice and a woman's voice. Some like yelling, and it sounded like running or slamming, something like that. So at that point, I jumped up from the couch and ran to my front door to look out the peephole. I couldn't see anything, so I put my ear to the crack to kind of listen. At that point, it was silent for about 10 seconds, and then I heard what sounded like a female calling 911.
Can you describe, did you look out to see who the female was?
I couldn't see anybody. I could just hear.
Okay, what did you hear?
It was a little bit muffled. I could hear her saying apartment 1478, some stuff I couldn't hear, and then shot.
So when you hear the 2 noises, you didn't immediately recognize that they were gunshots?
Within 2 seconds, I sort of figured that's what it was. It was just so unlike it to hear. Our apartment seems very safe and secure, and I, at least knew my neighbors by sight and some by name. So initially, I couldn't figure out why that would be happening. So my first thought was, it can't be. And then I'm like, well, no, I think it was.
And those, I guess the 2 shots you heard, were they in quick succession?
Yes.
And you say you heard some commotion afterwards.
Yes.
Could you tell where the commotion was coming from?
Sounded like, from the hall, or it wasn't, on the other side. I couldn't hear it through the wall. It sounded like it was coming more from like the hallway area.
Was your TV on when you were on the phone or FaceTime with your boyfriend?
No, ma'am.
Did you pause your conversation with your boyfriend when you heard the gunshot?
The sound stopped us both once we heard it.
And so your attention immediately shifted to where the noise was coming from?
Oh, yes.
And so the commotion, based on what you heard, was not coming from the walls next door in the Jones apartment, but sounds like from the hallway area?
It sounded like it, yeah.
Did you ever open your door to see what was going on in the hallways?
After the police started kind of running down the hallways and showing up, I did open my door, and I was instructed to go back inside.
Did you ever look out your patio door to see what was happening?
Yes.
Okay, and when you looked out, what did you see?
So after I heard what I thought was a 911 call, it was quiet for a minute or so. So I went to my back door and went out on the patio to see I don't know if I could see police coming or somebody running away or just kind of, look. And I stepped outside and I was still on the phone with my boyfriend, and I noticed that Bo's lights were on in his apartment at that point. And I made a comment. I wonder if I should, knock on his window and see if he heard anything or he knows what's going on. My boyfriend's like, you probably should just go back inside. So I did.
Okay. Now let's talk a little bit about that. When you went out on the patio and you looked and saw that Bo's lights was on, had the police arrived yet?
No. I could see them coming down Lamar, looking this way. I could see a couple on the bike cops, and then I could hear sirens starting to come, towards the building.
When you went out to the patio and saw that his lights were on, was that before or after you heard what you thought somebody making a 911 call?
I heard the 911 call, then I went out on the patio.
Do you recall hearing any other conversations or voices from the hallway other than the officers telling you to kind of go back inside?
Once the police officers arrived, I could hear them talking about doing CPR and asking where the stretcher was. I could hear a female hyperventilating, but outside of that, I didn't hear a whole lot of conversation.
Now, Ms. Kinsey, at your time at the apartment complex, have you parked on the wrong floor before?
Once I parked, yes.
And what were you doing when you parked on the wrong floor?
I was on the phone.
On the phone with whom?
My boyfriend.
So when you parked on the wrong floor, you were on the phone with your boyfriend, and is it fair to say you were distracted by that conversation?
Yes, I would think so.
Do you recall what floor you parked on?
I parked on 3.
So you didn't go all the way up?
There's a lot of turns in the parking lot, yes, so I just went up to 3.
Have you ever went to the wrong door?
No.
At some point, do you recall when Mr. John got his red floor mat?
I think he had it when I moved in, as far as I can remember.
Do you recall making fun of him about that mat?
Yeah. Well, we were making fun of it. We walked by, and it was super dirty. And I told me and my boyfriend were laughing about it, and I think he made a comment to him out on the patio about it. Yeah.
Would you say it's pretty noticeable though on that hallway?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Ms. Kinsey, my name is Robert Rogers.
Hey.
I have a few questions for you. Try to make it painless and get you out of here, okay?
Okay.
So the time you parked on the wrong floor, you're safe to say just on automatic pilot, talking on the phone, and you're turning, and stop, where by feel you felt you were on the 4th floor, correct?
Initially when I parked.
And then I believe you, at some point you looked out and saw, you didn't see the roof, which you're used to seeing because you parked on the 4th floor.
Right.
And that's what caught it. It wasn't any numbers or anything. It was you looked in the right spot where you could see the roof or not see the roof, and that's how you caught it.
Right. Yeah.
Now, with regard to 1478 and Mr. John, you normally wouldn't hear anything through the walls, correct?
Correct.
And there was one time where both your patio patio doors were open, and you could hear the whooping for the playoff game, correct?
Right.
Other than that, there wasn't, you wouldn't normally hear noises through the walls, correct?
Right. I can never hear.
And I just want to get the timeline correct. So you're FaceTiming with your boyfriend, and all of a sudden you hear this loud noise that sounds like is it accurate to say just really rapid, two loud noises that make it sound like one?
That's right.
And so then you're trying to figure out what's happening in about 10 seconds of silence, I mean, just estimation. And then you hear a voice from the hallway saying 1478, and that's when it sounds like the female voice is on 911. Is that correct?
Not exactly. So when I heard these shots, I was sitting down, and I sat for about 5 seconds, 10 seconds. What made me jump up to realize it was extra irregular was the commotion, the sounds, the yelling, the running. That's when I got up from the couch, went to the peephole. About maybe a few seconds later, maybe a minute later, that's when I heard the phone call.
And you heard 1478.
Yes.
I mean, that's the words that you can make out of these.
Right.
And then after that, you went back in your apartment, correct?
Right.
Then you go to the balcony or the patio.
Mm-hmm.
And it's after that you noticed that the lights were on.
Right. Once I was on the patio, I looked.
Nothing further.
Nothing further.
You should be excused.
Okay.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Shanel Bly.
Please raise your right hand and be sworn. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I swear.
Ms. Bly, would you state your name and spell your first and last name for the court report?
Yes, my name is Shanel Bly, and that's Shanel.
Last name?
And then last name Bly.
And Ms. Bly, where do you work?
I work currently at my iLab in Louisville. I'm an assistant store manager.
And I want to direct your attention to September the 6th of 2018. Were you a resident at the Southside Flats?
Yes, I was.
And where did you live in that apartment complex at that time?
1384, apartment 1384.
Apartment 1384?
Mm-hmm.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Now, Ms. Bly, I'm going to ask you to put this sticky where you would see your apartment located on this Sex Exhibit 34 B as in Bravo. Do you see that? They have the row of apartments, so the corridor, that's the corridor. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Now, Ms. Bly, you're located on the 3rd floor, is that correct?
That's correct.
How long had you lived in that particular apartment on this incident?
In this incident, a little under 2 years.
Okay. And since then, you've relocated to a different apartment in the building, is that correct?
Correct, yes.
On the night of this incident, did you hear any of the commotion that was going on the fourth floor?
I didn't hear any commotion. I heard a noise, but not any commotion,
Okay.
anything specific.
All right. Did you hear the police arriving?
Yes,
Sirens?
I did hear that, yes.
Did you hear any gunshots or anything like that?
I heard something that sounded like a gunshot, but I thought it might have been a car backfiring or something like that. So I didn't think it was a gunshot.
And is that probably because it was uncommon to happen in that particular apartment complex?
Yes, correct.
Now, Ms. Bly, you're on the third floor. Is it fair to say when you exit the parking garage, may I approach you?
Yes.
When you exit the parking garage, looking at State's Exhibit 34A, on the third floor, you would enter this corridor,
Yes.
okay? And then where would you go to get to your apartment?
I would go straight ahead because I'm right there.
You're right here on the corner. Is that a yes? You have to say yes or no for the record.
Yes, it is.
Thank you. And so when you come here, this is your apartment, correct?
Yes, that is my apartment. Was my apartment.
Okay. Do you have any decorations outside your apartment when you lived at 1384?
Yes, I did. I had a red and beige mat and also a decorative, like aesthetic flower, tall flower.
And when was that flower placed outside of your apartment at 1384?
It was a little after I had renewed my lease for my second stay at the apartment. So I would say a little bit before, probably February.
February of 2018?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes, that's yes, yes.
So I'm going to show you now what's been marked as and admitted previously as State's Exhibit number 76. Is that a photograph of your front door when you lived at apartment 1384?
Yes, that is the front door of my apartment.
Okay. And so if someone was to walk down that main corridor on the third floor and I guess hit what is like the V between the two corridors, you're going to bump into your apartment and you're going to see this face.
I'm going to object to speculation on what someone else would see.
Overruled.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, because this vase has been sitting there at least since February of 2018.
Yes.
Okay. When did you relocate that vase?
The only time that it's been relocated is when I moved my apartment.
And when was that?
That was earlier this year,
So 2019?
2019. Mm-hmm.
May she be excused?
No objection.
Thank you very much, ma'am. You may be excused.
All right, thank you.
Next call is Dr. Alyssa Kinsey.